right, so you've got your will. Let's say, for example, you're retired, you're living off your superannuation money, and or maybe drawing a pension from your superannuation fund, what it may be. Now, is it correct to say that if you die, that your superannuation money goes straight to your estate?
No, not necessarily. Superannuation is not governed by your will. Superannuation is controlled, your superannuation money is controlled by the trustee of your super fund. So if you want your super fund money to go in a particular way, you have to actually direct that trustee in the manner that you want it to be dealt with. And you do that through what's called a binding death benefit nomination. Now you can have a death benefit nomination that's not binding, but you can, and in which case the trustee can make up their own mind. If you don't have any nomination, the trustee exercises its own discretion, and it will decide where your money goes. If you have a non-binding nomination, the trustee will look at your nomination and then consider whether they'll go ahead with that or not. And if you have a binding death benefit nomination, then the trustee will look at that and say, okay, I'm bound by this, I have to proceed to deal with the proceeds of the super fund as the deceased has outlined. Now, binding death benefit nominations, if you've got a self-managed superannuation fund, you only need to do it once. If you're a member of a public offer fund, you need to renew them every 3 years. Still 3 years. The important thing is obviously to make sure that they are non-lapsing, because you don't want them to fall away and you forget to renew them. Now, only your dependents can take money out from your superannuation proceeds. So, to take money from your super fund, the person must be either must be a dependent of yours or your estate, one or the other. Now, to take money tax-free, effectively, that will be your spouse, it'll be your children under 18, or it'll be a financially dependent child between the ages of 18 and 25. Those people can take the money out of your superannuation tax-free. Everybody else is going to pay tax when the money comes out. That money, when it comes out, it can go to your estate if you wanted to, in which case you'll lose at the moment 15%, but tonight in about 5 minutes' time we might learn whether or not that's going to be increased, particularly for people who earn more than $300,000 a year. So, does your superannuation proceeds go through your will? No, not unless you specifically tell the trustee, I want my super money to be paid to my estate. If you say to the trustee, I want my super money to be paid to my spouse, then the will is irrelevant. If you say I want it to be paid to my children, the will is irrelevant, and so on.
Okay, so really the effect is you can have it's like that non-lapsing binding death nomination is like a will for the super fund, and
yes,
you
quite right.
Quite right.
Okay. Now I've just signed one up today where we said the proceeds to the spouse. If they'd already gone, if they've predeceased or not survived the 30 days, then they've only got one kitty. The one kitty who's currently under 18, and she will get a non-commutable pension, because you don't want a large lump. I mean, there's a lot of money inside this fund, and the last thing you want is a kid of 17 or 16 years of age getting hold of a large amount of capital. So we said, no, she can have a non-commutable pension out of the fund until such time as she ceases to be entitled to tax-free benefits, which and we've explained to them how they're going to have to make her financially dependent after she turns 18. They'll pay her an allowance to maintain her financial dependence on her parents, and so therefore effectively when she turns 25, she will cease to be entitled to get the money out on a tax-free basis. So then the money will go to the estate, because inside the estate will then go through a testamentary trust on her behalf. Now, there's a whole raft of really complicated things in there, which I've just run through, but it just goes to show you that there is much to be considered if you've got a material amount of money and need to protect it for your children.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If you leave money then to grandchildren, it's taxed, is it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, this is more tax planning. I mean, it depends on the components in the superannuation fund. Most of the money that's actually accumulated in superannuation over the years is usually that compulsory superannuation, the 9% compulsory that's been going in over all these years. That comes out to a grandson or whatnot, or the children who are 35 of their own families get 15% plus Medicare when it comes out.
So that's only in superannuation.
In superannuation.
Money that's outside superannuation, there's no tax in any state.
That's correct.
That's right. So part of the planning is to balance those. So you can say, well, okay, if I give I want to give this many dollars to these two people. So can I work this in some way that I give these dollars from this source tax-free and these dollars from this source, which is also tax-free, but if I switched them around or bundled them up into one pool, there'd be tax payable by one or the other. So that's part of the process.
I mean, there are strategies, effective strategies to try to change the character of the money sitting in your super fund. So in other words, if you got the opportunity to pull your money out and then recontribute it back in as what's called a personal contribution, because when the personal contribution comes out of the super fund, there's no tax on it. So what you're trying to do is change the character of that fund, but pulling the money out is rules, and putting the money back in is also rules, so you've got to meet the rules on both parts in order to be able to try to change the character of your superannuation fund.